My friends and my family, this is Trevor Chapman. Modern day man, entrepreneur, achiever, purveyor of the good life, student of life, marketer. After over 10 years in business, tens of millions of dollars, I've learned this one thing. There's too much noise. It takes tactics and strategy. You can't buy it, you earn it through experience. Failure after failure hones the craft. You must become a warrior. It's time to run. The experience you can't buy. You had to have earned it. It's my turn to give back and contribute. I share all of my lessons from 7 to 8 and from 8 to 9 figures. We'll see if it goes from 9 to 10, but I'm gonna give it all to you. Consistency, persistence, dedication, vision, time, discipline, work. I'm gonna give it all to you so that you learn from where I failed and you learn from my experience. My brothers, this is your daily fuel. Well, my friends, happy day after Thanksgiving. What a great day, huh? Spend with friends and family, find things that we are grateful for, and as we all know, actual science will tell you that a real expression of gratitude is the answer to depression and sadness and low achievement. It's incredible what gratitude does to the brain and your sense of well-being, which is precisely what I want to talk about today. I woke up this morning to find, having consistently beat Tim Ferriss with the podcast episodes over the last 45 days, as long as I've been doing podcasts, to find a different podcast by Tim Ferriss in my number one spot ahead of me. And I started to listen to it, and I loved it. Tribe of Mentors, but it was crazy that he was ahead. And as I started to do a little bit more digging, I realized he's celebrating his 10-year anniversary since he wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, and he's 40 years old. And I think, like probably most competitors, I started to compare. I just turned 34. When he was 30, he published the 4-Hour Work Week. By 34, he had done the 4-Hour Body. He was speaking at TED Talks, meeting incredible people all over the world. He was the high achiever. After all, Tim Ferriss is Tim Ferriss. There's something that they even call the Tim Ferriss effect, and they liken it to Oprah Winfrey. Now, this happens from time to time. When I read Steve Jobs' biography, this sense of comparison started to happen again. So when I was 25, when that book came out, my wife literally banned me from reading it because I was like, I was talking to my wife, whose name is Casey. Case, by the time he was 25, he did X, Y, Z. Here I am. And she was like, hey, you can't read this book. It's not doing anything to help you. Because being competitive, comparing oneself only sufficiently enough to get you to jam, in my opinion, is healthy. Today, right before I came down to record this podcast, she turned over to me and she said, comparison is the enemy of joy. Actually, she didn't say enemy. What did she say? Comparison is the something, not antithesis, but like some other term other than black hole. Long story short, comparison is the enemy of joy. And it was funny because this is something that I preach. You know, in my internal circle for e-commerce where I teach people how to do it, I had a guy write me 2 days ago and he's like, dude, it's 6 months. I've made $1.5 million. I've got big plans. 2018 is going to be incredible, blah, blah, blah. All the way to people who say, hey, I'm still trying to find my main product, but I'm excited, blah, blah. So I've got the whole spectrum. Now, the vast majority have great success. And I believe the reason why is because I keep the price point relatively high. And so it weeds out the people that are like, oh, I'll toss $1,000 in there. It's not ridiculous, but you have to be serious to sign up with me. And so I have also kicked out about 100 people in the first week when they first sign up. I see, they're not logging in or they're being negative. I want to keep the quality incredibly high. But one of the things that I continually preach, because people start to post screenshots of their success. Single moms posting, $10,000 days. Married couples who previously struggled, having an $85,000 week. Like these things are incredible. And the vast majority of the people in my circle, in my course, sign up in spurts at the same time because we only open it once a quarter. And I consistently have to write when people start posting, look, the person that you should be comparing your present circumstances to was the person you were yesterday or your past. Don't compare to anybody else. Compare only to your own past. Now, it's funny because it's easy to give advice. It's harder to take your own pills because I do compare myself. And in many ways, it drives me forward. But there comes a point in time, like today, when it stopped doing so. I look at Steve Jobs, everything he achieved by the time he was 34. Tim Ferriss, 40, what he's doing. He puts out a couple audio clips and bam, straight up to first. I'm doing everything I can, promising anything that I need to send out to my friends to get reviews and whatnot. And here he is posting, a little half-hour audio clip of him reading the front of his chapter. But man, he's been doing this for 10 years. I've been in the internet space for exactly a year and a week and a half. 13 years ago was when I started my career in entrepreneurship. 13 years ago, Tim Ferriss was already, 8 years into it. It's one of those things where, who was it? I think Warren Buffett said that in business, the rearview mirror is much more clear than the windshield. And so there's all kinds of things that we wish we would have done, but the one enemy of all of it is simply comparison to those other people around us. Listen, and I take this advice for myself as well. Do not let others' actions or success stop you from taking yours, nor slow you down. See, every person is running their own race, and while someone may be nearing their finish line, they started far before you. So it doesn't matter if you're not further across that bridge or that track than they are. Because the equivalent, if everyone had started at the same spot at the same time, then that's different. Perhaps we can compare. But life is not that way. Life is not that way. Stay focused. Get deep. Find the weakness in your market and penetrate that. That's where the opportunity is, where the market is the weakest, where the innovation is the oldest, where the competition is stagnant, where the big guys are massive and slow to move. It's an incredible time. The world is massive. We look at America now and we say, man, the Twitters and Facebooks have already come out, the Ubers, etc. But overseas, in emerging countries and regions, these things aren't there. I read 3 days ago about a company called Rocket Internet out of Germany. Their whole business model is to find startups that are well-funded and then throw everything that they have to build a clone overseas and then sell it back. Now, while that's dirty business, it's not illegal, but I bring this up only to show you the relevance of the fact that emerging markets are massive. These guys started an eBay clone, and in 100 days after they started it, they sold it for $50 million. They started a Zappos clone and built that to $1 billion. These guys started only with their own money. Now, there's nothing that they had access to that you don't have access to. In fact, the world is much easier now than it was, for instance, when Tim Ferriss started. He was Wired Magazine's Self-Promoter of the Year in 2006. The internet was quieter back then. But it was also a lot harder to be heard. There was no Facebook. There was no Facebook Live as we know it today. Facebook, I mean by that, as we know it today. There was no Pinterest or Instagram. None of that existed. There was blogging and potentially YouTube, but that was also in its infancy. See, that also was when Gary Vaynerchuk was just starting Wine Library TV. Put your time in, put your head down, move forward. I read somewhere that Gary V did 1,000 Wine Library TV videos before he even had the thought to build his own personal content brand. Stay true to the course, man. Stay true to the course. Man or lady, my friend. Don't give in to the feelings that your competitors are further than you, because they're not. You're comparing yourself only to your past. Keep that as your North Star guiding principle. And eventually, with enough effort, layer after layer after layer, like sedimentary stone, you will get higher and higher until you are a massive monument to nature in your own sphere. And then people will come and look. Because most things don't have the patience, the temperament, the diligence, the fortitude, the endurance, the speed, the gusto, the energy to keep on keeping on like sedimentary rock. Most people change their mind like they change their underwear, almost daily. Stay true. Stay hungry. Keep going. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy holidays. Until tomorrow, all my love and all my respect. Trevor out.